Hello, and thank you for having me here today. And I'll start by presenting myself a little bit so you can know me a bit better. So at first, when I started studying, I thought I was going to be an artist somehow until I started looking for a job, of course. Then I decided maybe I will go for something more practical, like graphic design. So I worked for some e-commerce. And then I decided I want to really make the big decision, and I said I want to be an entrepreneur and have my own creative agency. And then it felt like a bit more like an accountant job, and so I couldn't make many creative things. And then I finally was able to focus on web design and product design and found my passion. And I've been working on Leo Vegas since March last year, and applying all the knowledge while learning a lot about this fun industry. So what we'll be talking about here today, I will be showing you a little bit about Leo Vegas, the industry, our brands, for you to have some context and understand the challenges we have on our daily basis. And then we'll go for the ultimate challenge and give you some space for some questions. So, who's Leo Vegas? Leo Vegas is an iGaming company, one of the leaders in the industry. We offer a live casino and sports betting in 10 jurisdictions. And we all work towards creating the world's greatest iGaming experience. A little bit of history, I'll try to be brief. So it all started in 2011. When the company was founded, and at the beginning it was just Leo Vegas brand, but soon we started to acquire new brands. And so it was very obvious 2018 that we needed some kind of multi-brand framework, and so we created our own platform to be able to manage all those brands. And we kept growing with more brands and obviously more people. And a very important moment for us was when we were acquired by MGM Resorts. They acquired us as a vehicle for them to launch their brand BetMGM outside North America, and they gave us full speed to work, and yeah, a lot of work actually too. So we are a very multicultural company. We are spread all over the world. We have these few offices, and some people also working fully remote. And we love knowing about different traditions, and we enjoy a lot talking about the weather. We adapt to hybrid work, and we are still adapting to the different time zones since recently some people from America joined the company. Just a small representation of the company. This is the team I work with, my product design team. And we are divided by a specialty, and we like to call ourselves deli and disco. So, as mentioned before, we have a few brands, and the main one is Leo Vegas. Is the one that is most known in Europe for the mobile casinos, and it has a lot of awards at its back. And then we have BetMGM, which is the newest hero brand. It gets the latest features and very good offers for our players. And then we have smaller brands just by comparisons, because for us they're all important. Like Expect, for example, is very well known in Nordic countries, and it's focused on sports betting. And then there's some single market focus like Bet UK, for example, only in UK. And you can see here a little bit of the intricate maze that we have with the brands and markets. So for example, if you follow Leo Vegas line, is the red one, and you'll see connected to all the markets. But then if we isolate Expect, you'll see it's only connected to Sweden and Denmark. And thank God we had Fuji to make easy for us to understand this intricate maze of brands, markets, and regulators. And talking about regulators, this is a very important role in our industry. They are external regulator on each market. They establish the rules that protect the users, And in order to align with this protection and to operate responsibly, we work together closely to follow those guidelines. So this is some of the teams involved in this process. It's only a small example of all the departments that we have at Leo Vegas. Sorry, I went too far. Since the start of the company, safe gambling is at the core of our work. We try to always make it the safest for our players, as well as entertaining. And we have some dedicated teams like compliance that work more like a bank. We even have a data science team that has a prediction model in case any use might be at risk. And now that you know the industry and the company a little bit better, let's dive into the first challenge that we have. So, as you can imagine, it's very complex to actually make it interest flow while being compliant, while following all those regulations and rules. We will see an example here with the UK flow. So it has 3 main steps. And this is kind of like the creation of the account at the first step. The second one is optional. It's like for identification. And the third one is the first deposit flow. If we see more details, you will see there's quite plenty of steps. We gather a lot of data for the user. It's just not signing up on an e-commerce. We are actually checking the data and checking that the person behind the user is real. So if everything goes well, there's no problem. They can go into the deposit flow. But if the data doesn't match our back data, then we have to double check the identity of the person behind the user. We have to make sure that the user is who she says she is. So it might be an uploading a document, some ID. It's basically a process called KYC, which is Know Your Customer, which is very, very basic in our industry. And then if the identification succeeds, she can actually go into the first deposit flow, where the user can pick some bonuses that may ease up the way into playing like some free bets or some kind of other offers. So imagine the one we just saw is that little one there, but this is some of the other ones that we have. And just check the Netherlands flow. This is super long, super complex, and has a lot of friction points to the user. And we still want to make it entertaining, as entertaining as possible, of course. So in order for us to be able to manage all those different screens, different UIs, we try to use this tool called Chieftain, which is kind of like a template tool. And we try to reuse some of the screens for different brands, but we have the reference of the market. So we will follow same regulation, but with different brands. And you can see, for example, some differences between the UK sign-up form, and here we have the Netherlands sign-up form. And there's a small step here where you see the deposit limit. This is a very important tool for the user, because it allowed them to actually put a limit on what they want to play and not exceed that limit at any point. So for UK, actually regulators say, like, okay, you just need to offer this tool to the player. They don't need to actually set them up, the limits, if they don't want to. So we add them on the form, on the sign-up. But then for Netherlands, they have a bunch of other regulations, and the limits are required, like it's a must for the players to set. So in order to make it a bit easier for the player not to have this, again, friction point, we try to push that into a different flow. So the user will do it afterwards, once the account is created, and we won't require, again, more data from them at the beginning of the process. Next challenge. Well, every time a new brand comes in place, is a new adventure. So as you can imagine, we have all of this one. So I'm just going to take one as an example. A brand probably comes with its own guidelines already, with the palettes ready, and even some Figma files and some design system from the brand itself. So when we actually put it inside our design system, sometimes it just doesn't work on the product. So we kind of have to play with the values, try to keep the same vibes without breaking the product. We even have some issue with accessibility. As you can see an example, that's the primary color with the background color, and it's just not readable enough. But we are super lucky to have Namrata and Anna to be super quick with their contracts tool and make our product as accessible as possible. Next challenge is kind of unique to our structure. So if you remember, this is the team, and we were divided by specialty, but we are also divided by kind of product itself. So within each vertical, there's a different user. So sportsbook user is very different to live casino users. So we have actually teams that are dedicated to know those users, design for them, and also different squad of developers. So that this allows us to work really agile, to have new features very quickly, and but it also creates like different workflows. So if you can imagine working with multi-brand and multi-market, all the teams kind of find the necessity at some point to create the design system. And at first, we try to align as much as possible, like a foundation, like a grid, spacing, colors. We really, really try to keep it the same. But then as we started to create the components, the variants, they just start to grow apart because we have a user with specific needs, and we are devoted to our users. So yeah, this is kind of challenging to keep the website looking like it's the same product, but at the same time be functional for the user itself. And if you think we are not aligned in design, just imagine the developers working with totally different libraries, totally different tools. So we have here some team working with internal pages, some team using Storybook to actually connect the designs with the production library. And this will be very familiar if you've been working with a design system before, so it's very difficult to kind of be super creative, but then be consistent with the design system. So for us, it even adds an extra level of challenge, because we not only have to be consistent with the design system, we still have to make sure it works for every brand, make sure it works with every language. So the way we do it is that we learn to admit these constraints from the beginning, and from the first draft, we do the test of branding and checking, especially on the areas where we see that the label might be a bit tight, looks great in English, but we still need to test it in different language. And we love learning some words along the way, but I don't know if there's any Brazilian or Portuguese in the audience. So many characters, why? It doesn't fit. And sometimes we just need to start over, rethink about the use case, and think about how to make the design really useful for every case. Another one would be, of course, the industry will not stop for us. So we need to be quick, we need to launch in new markets, we need to be aware of the events, the campaigns, and you cannot just press pause to be dedicated into maintain, create, or take care of the design system. We just need to keep going. And so this is an example of once we launched BetMGM in August last year. And it was quite challenging because we wanted to make this brand unique. So we went with a multi-theming approach. So each vertical, which is the name we give it for each type of category. So sports will be a vertical, casino will be another vertical, etc. And we decided, why not we made multi-theming approach? So each vertical will have its own vibes. But of course, the design system was not ready for this. Like, we have just one set of palettes, and so we kind of had to squeeze extra sets of palettes last minute. I'm not sure how the developers did it, don't ask me. But we managed to launch and have this at the same time as a multi-theming working. And it's being difficult to maintain to this day, to be honest. And on the other side, we have a sportsbook team which is very tied to any sports event. So, for example, on Euro 2024, it was something that only happens every 4 years. So, of course, it's a very good business opportunity. We couldn't just let it go. And we had a bunch of new features that we already have for brand BetMGM, but still the rest of the brand couldn't use those features because they just weren't ready. So suddenly the design system was a must, and we start like migrating components at the same speed that we were creating the newest features, special flair for the Euro event. So it was quite challenging, and this is a key moment that when you really see developers and product designers and even POs working together, pushing in the same direction. So I'll have to say thank you for that. And this is our latest challenge. Of course, you saw this coming because it's just a logical decision. We need a single global design system that works for everything. This doesn't mean we're just throwing to the bin everything we've just done. We acquire a lot of knowledge along the way, so we're trying to apply all of it into creating this new design system that will be flexible to be used on different brands and markets, that will be scalable, consistency. We want to unify the frameworks to be more connected to the dev side. And some of the learnings that we want to apply is, for example, more semantic approach. So to this point, we were trying to use the less semantic token as possible to not make the giant library. But then as new brand comes, you kind of find the need to have this flexibility. So we'll go more for the semantic approach. Sorry, devs, about this. And also, we were going to try to kind of see the future a little bit and try to come up with use cases from the beginning to make a component that has an architecture that works for a different scenario. And yeah, I think we'll be pretty busy, and but we are super lucky to have Jalal, which is the main advocate for this latest project, the Global Design System, and he would say, crafting a design system for a multi-brand, multi-market, and multi-language platform is never simple, but starting fresh allows us to embrace the complexity and create a system that adapts, evolves, and scales over time. So starting from scratch is not a step back, it's a leap forward towards a better, smarter design and the creation of a lasting foundation. I would say we just lack, but I feel that we are lucky enough to have a lot of professionals in our team, so we just need time in our side to make sure this is done. Oh, just one last challenge, sorry. We will need to still work on our tidy up the Figma files because, let's be honest, creatives are not the best one while trying to order things up. So yeah, we will keep working on that. Thank you.
Thank you.